Brothers Mackenzie and Cooper Schoenthaler were chosen by their mother, a doctor, more than 2 decades ago. She had them at 41 and 45 using the same donor.
Didn't see our parents cry, and scream and throw things, and because there weren't two parents.
How has that impacted your own relationships by not seeing tension, by not seeing people work through those same things that you spoke of?
I think that I am more conflict avoidant than other people as a result because I was raised in a household with zero conflict. Perhaps that's one of the drawbacks.
Gay. Sorry to say it. But, and by the way, I'm being 90s gay. Just not cool. It's not cool to raise men not to be men. There is an element, okay, of being a man that is attributed to aggression. Aggression is not a bad thing. Now, these new psychoanalysts will try to convince you it is, but it's not. It's natural, okay? It is a biological instinct for men to be aggressive. When I tell you that my son wakes up in the morning, grabs a sword, finds my husband, wants to fight, wants to beat him up, you see this and you go, this is phenomenal. And the reason why that is natural is because men are supposed to go out and defend. Okay, they're not supposed to be sitting in a classroom learning about their feelings and 76 genders that they can choose from. Okay, they are biologically inclined to protect and to defend. And so now what they're doing is they're removing that. And of course, like I said, that is going to be the circumstance when you have them surrounded by women, because I just think, wow, if I was raising my son alone, every time he comes at me with that little plastic sword, the first thing I say is, I don't want to fight. Come find mommy when you want to hug, when you want to be nurtured, okay? So what's happening is you have these female breeders, so to speak, who are breeding that out of men. And let me tell you something right now, there is no society that can survive without strong men.
Yeah, I wanted to add something. With all that's going on, I think it's very interesting, but I think it's coming to a point where I want to word this correctly, but I don't know if classism is the right word, but it's gonna come to a point where people are gonna have to go back to the way it was, where there was a little bit of classism, where it's just like, all right, well, if that's how you want to live, that's how you want to raise your kids, we're not gonna associate with you. Like me and mine, we're gonna raise our family a certain way, we're gonna get married, and we're gonna associate ourselves around those who do the same. And I think, like Sweeney's saying, it's gonna self-correct. Eventually what's gonna happen is you're gonna see that there's a class of children that are well-adjusted, have had the right guidance, the right parenting, and have the right skills. And then you're going to have a class of children that aren't. And unfortunately, that's going to be the poverty class. And it is what it is. Even the Bible says the poor you have what you always, right? You're never going to remove that element of society from society. The best that you can do is just separate it from the good. You know what I mean? Like if fruit is rotten, you're not going to get rid of rotten fruit. Just separate the rotten fruit from the good fruit. I think if we take that approach, I think it's better. It's best to just teach your kids to follow, the way that you've taught them, and be very adamant on instilling that in your sons. Like, don't impregnate a woman that's not your wife. Like, make that a thing. Like start putting that in the young boys' heads. Like, yeah, we know you want to get a nut, you know you want to have sex, whatever, but stop giving these women the children, because at the end of the day, we always ask what we can do, but that's really that's like the only power we have at this point. Is if you don't want these women being single moms and raising these kids without your guidance, stop giving them the seed to have to form the life. Keep your seed to yourself, withdraw it, protect it, hold it high to a higher standard, and it has to be a conscious decision and choice, because if men don't actively do something, I mean, it's not going to be good for the community. And the thing is, the women are going to get their way, because the reality is that they know exactly how to get their way. The reason why Ebony can have a baby out of wedlock and be a single mother by choice is because someone gave her that seed. Someone figured, because of how she looked or whatever, that she was good enough to drop a seed off in her. And it's like, well, if you're making that decision and you basically saying, I'm cool with saying that my potential child will be raised by a single mom. My potential child could end up not properly adjusted to society. And if you're cool with that, then you got to take the responsibility for that too. Like, that's kind of on you.
No, Clout. Ebony K went to the baby battle bank.
Okay, well, in her situation, yeah, you're right. In her situation, it's a little different because she went to the sperm bank. But at the same time, if I want to push back on that, I can say, well,
Man,
don't
it's the
give
same.
don't drop it off at the sperm bank for that little $50 or whatever they're giving you because you have a hard time. Nah, keep your seed to yourself. Don't let them get none of it unless it comes with the submission. Like don't let them carry or have your family unless it comes with the submission and the adherence to your frame and to your program. And then if you're getting the adherence to your program that you want, cool, reproduce with that woman. But a lot of times we're reproducing things that are not solid and don't make sense to reproduce it. Like if you and her are not functional to begin with, why would you want to reproduce that? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. So I definitely think it's a little bit of dick discipline can go a long way.
So Clyde, I always thought that was weird too. Oh, go ahead, Ken. Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
No,
I'm good.
go ahead. I'll go next.
All right. I always thought it was weird for men to do like the whole sperm bank thing because, I mean, that's part of you. That means you're going to have a child in existence that you just never are going to be a part of their lives. And to me, that I can't see how men could just really do that just for a couple dollars. I don't think it's worth it. I feel differently about it, man. Like that's a soul at the end of the day. And that's part of me. So I would want to be a part of that child's life. I think it's crazy. One thing you touched on that I wanted to go ahead and on was I see the separation that you're talking about. I think some people are getting progressively worse, and then the people who stay away from it are they on point. And one thing that my wife does a really good job at is vetting the children that are around our children, right? So she makes sure that she meets the parents and everything before if this is your friend, she want to meet your parents. And if that's realistic for most of you, I would suggest it because you can see a lot as to what's going on, and you'll be able to pick up a lot of the patterns that could potentially happen because you can see a lot of what that child is going to be based on what their parents are like. And it's legit. I hate to profile people, but when it comes to protecting my family, we're going to do what we have to do. And it's been working really well. And you'll see that she learns, and we advise, like, especially our daughter, but our son too, we advise them as to like certain characteristics to look out for based on what we witness. And we want to see how the house set up. We want to see everything because we need to know what it is that you're dealing with, because birds of a feather flock together. Once they start doing nonsense, we understand that that's influence on our children. So if you got your daughter, say, around a bunch of fast girls, she's going to be put into predicaments that you don't want her to be into. Do y'all practice that? Do y'all like vet your children's friends?
Yeah, that was a must, man. That Another thing is we wouldn't allow my son to stay the night with people who wasn't blood, who wasn't kin. I mean, I can name about twice that he ever spent the night at somebody's house that wasn't no kin folks. And one of them when he was way older, because I think he was 16 at the time, was the only other time he stayed with somebody that wasn't no kin to us. So by then he was big enough, strong enough, he could defend himself if need be. But he's also old enough and mature enough where he can handle and talk to us and let us know if thing wasn't right. Just call us. We'll come get you. No problem. Hell yeah, you got to vet your friends. I definitely make sure I did that. I always make sure every Friday they would come over prior to game. So they come over, eat, hang out before they got to, report back to school before they play their games, just to hang out. What I do, I take advantage of that time to talk to them, to evaluate them, to research them, and let them, hey, dog, he may be your teammates, but he's not someone you need to be hanging with. Only time you deal with him is in practice and during games. Any other time you don't deal with him because that boy ain't right in the head, and I don't want you around to be influenced by him. So yeah, you have to do that. That's a must. That's part of you investing into your children. Unfortunately, a lot of women not like your wife though, Trez. Most women think every child. Most women think every child. Oh, he's nice. He's polite. He said, "Yes, ma'am." You know, man. All that shit may be a goddamn front. We see right through that boy. All right, boy, bullshitting. He just talking. He just talking. I see right through him. I see how he moves. I see how he's looking at certain things. Mm-hmm. Oh no, hell no. This dude ain't coming over no more. He can't come through the threshold of my goddamn door. So we got to make sure we on top of that.